What is up, guys? Del Boy here. So Oscar Rivas knocks out Bryant Jennings in the 12th round to remain undefeated. This was one of those fights where, although there wasn't a whole heap of action, I always found it intriguing and I was always glued to the TV screen. Something about the fight kept me invested and I actually enjoyed the fight. In the first 6 rounds, I was actually quite impressed with Oscar Rivas. Oscar Rivas to me has always been a guy who is very explosive early on and he's very dangerous early on, and that was the best chance I gave him in this fight. I felt it was a possibility for Rivas to knock Bryant Jennings out early, but if it went past sort of rounds 6, I felt he would struggle due to his gas tank. In previous fights, when he's gone past round 6, he's never got a knockout, He gasses quite badly in fights, and I felt that would be a factor in this fight, but it wasn't the case because Oscar Rivas actually did a very good job of conserving his energy in the first 6 rounds. He was applying steady pressure without letting his hands go to the extent where he would gas later on. He was, catching Bryant Jennings' jabs on his gloves. He came forward with a high guard stance and, to move Bryant Jennings around, he would kind of use this hard power jab, and he did a good job of manoeuvring Bryant Jennings around the ring. In the first 6 rounds, to me, Bryant Jennings really didn't look comfortable. I don't know whether he felt Rivas' power early on and he kind of went into a shell, but in the first 6 rounds, I felt Oscar Rivas did a good job of outboxing Bryant Jennings on the front foot. I know some people out there will like what Bryant Jennings was doing, but to me, he was moving too much, and a lot of his jabs were being caught on the gloves, and even the ones that did get through, there was weak shots, they didn't really have anything on them. Occasionally, Bryant Jennings would land a good uppercut, he would try a hard left hook, but in the first 6 rounds, to me, he just didn't do enough. And although Jennings did make Rivas miss at times, to me, Rivas was still the ring general in there. So in the first 6 rounds, I felt Rivas was in control. After the 6th round, I actually felt Rivas started to gas. Now, I did say Rivas kind of conserved his energy quite well, and he did, but even after he conserved his energy, you could tell after the 6th round he was gassing, and Rivas in previous fights has gassed badly, so going forwards, that could be a bit of a worry. He didn't gas anywhere near as badly in this fight, but you could still tell it was a factor. But after round 6, I felt Bryant Jennings really started to claw his way back into the fight. I think round 9 in particular was a good round, and he really kind of evened it up. And going into the last round, I felt the fight was up for grabs. And before the 12th round, Oscar Rivas' trainer, Mark Ramsey, kind of said to him, you need a big round, you need to pull something out here. And he really motivated him well, to the point where Oscar Rivas in round 12 comes out fresh as a daisy and lets his hands go, lands several hard shots on Bryant Jennings, hurts him and drops him. You could tell when Bryant Jennings was taking the count, you could tell he was hurt by looking into his eyes, but he beats the count. He tries to fight on, but Oscar Rivas, he smells blood. He jumps over Bryant Jennings, lands several combinations, and the referee waves it off, and I think it was a good stoppage. Good win for Oscar Rivas. I actually picked Bryant Jennings to win this fight. I felt Rivas' gas tank would be his undoing, and it nearly was, but, I felt he conserved his energy much better in this fight, and that was the reason he had the energy to get the knockout in round 12. Where does Oscar Rivas go from here? I mean, I would like to see him fight anybody really, to be honest, outside the top 5. I don't think he's ready for top 5 guys yet, but anybody outside the top 5 would make for a really good fight. I don't think Oscar Rivas is tied to Top Rank, so theoretically we could see fights with the likes of Adam Kalnacki. That would be a tremendous fight. Oscar Rivas versus Andy Ruiz, that would be a fun fight. There's a lot of fights out there for Oscar Rivas. Hopefully he stays active, because he's kind of been in the wilderness for quite some time. He's had eye issues, he's had, inactivity issues. Hopefully after this win, it will really push his career and give him some momentum, because he's an exciting fighter and I want to see him again. Share your thoughts below. What did you make of this fight? Peace.